Ineos and Eric Ten Hag's untouchable list has grown from 3 to 6, but guess what? Amad Diallo is not among them. Question is, what is the plan these people have got for this young boy who was an exciting one towards the end of the season, but clearly never in the top options of Eric Ten Hag? My name is Webb. Like, share, and subscribe. This is the United Hotspot, back with the transfer tracker. Talking players now, not exactly about who is coming in. Of course, we know where we are in terms of players we are focusing on trying to bring in. But guys, before we bring in, we've got to clear some. Question is, what are we doing with those we have? Now, Amad Diallo was clearly one of the favorites to many United supporters towards the end of the season, especially for his performances in the FA Cup, as it is because of him probably that we got the turnaround and got a chance to win the FA Cup title after his winning goal against Liverpool. Now, people thought, honestly, I'm among those who feel like he had come of age. And again, going into this summer where we didn't think United has a lot of money, I was saying we don't even need to go into the market to spend on a winger. If we have Mason Greenwood and Amad Diallo, these two should be playing and rotating with each other. But Ineos seem to be insistent on signing Michael Olise. Chelsea is in the lead as it looks now, with reports suggesting that Chelsea, in fact, have agreed personal terms with the player, that they just want now to trigger his buyout clause or include two players in that move, Trevor Chabaloa and Madueke or whatever. But I'm not here to talk about Michael Olise. Honestly, I'm here to talk about Amad Diallo. If we do want to bring Michael Olise, what's the plan for Amad Diallo? Because this list that has been released, at least this is reported by the Daily Mail, of the players who are untouchable, I think they are obvious ones. I think those are players we can also guess. We know the three: Kobe, Garnacho, and Hoyland. Now they add on, I think I saw Martinez, Dalot, and Onana. I think, of course, Bruno as well. So we know this can be guessed. But what then happens with these players who have been promising, who have been there, who are approaching the final years of their contracts? Amad Diallo's current contract ends in the summer of 2025. There is an option of extending it by a further year. Now, this should be the time in which we talk to him over signing a new contract if we really consider him as an important player. But we are silent. Now, it's a critical phase in his career. This is the point where the decision he makes will make or break him. Does he stay? And I mean, with Eric Ten Hag staying, we have seen that Eric Ten Hag doesn't really fancy him that much. He does not really, especially when he has everyone fit, he does not fancy him that much. Even the players themselves who have trained with him have proven that he has consistently been the most talented player in the training. So the thing is, what then does he do? Does he stay behind and be a fourth, fifth option in terms of substitutes when everyone else is injured? They remember him, he comes, shows up and turns up, and then he's taken back to the bench? Or will he then be pushing to move? Because that depends on him, because he would want to put in a transfer request. And I'll tell you what, I think before Amad was being linked to Sunderland, going back to Sunderland where he was on loan, going to Birmingham City, clubs like Watford, all these small clubs, I'll tell you now, if Amad is available on the market, teams like West Ham, Everton, Tottenham, Aston Villa, Newcastle, I'll tell you all these teams would use him, because I think he proved himself. He should be staying and competing in the Premier League. Whether United sell him or loan him, and I've had people say he should be included in a swap deal for either Jared Branthwaite or Michael Olise. I personally, I don't think so, honestly. I think if we are letting go of Amad Diallo, it should be proper cash, sell him and get money. Or if you want to, and sell him to the right club, sell him to a West Ham, sell him to an Everton, sell him to some of these mid-table clubs, because he should be a starter in some of these clubs that are not so far off Manchester United. That's around Manchester United. Some of them might temporarily be ahead of United, but he's still a player, for example, who I think can start in a team like Aston Villa. Now, question is, what does Ineos plan to do with them? Because we don't want to be the club that kills careers of players who should be making that turn and leaping into proper, consistent first team football. So Amad is at that critical stage. If you ask me, I think Amad, for me, Ineos should be giving him assurances that, you know what, we do want to bring a competitive squad. You are not there yet. You are growing steadily, but you are in our plans. You are going to be the backup right winger behind either Mason Greenwood if you are bringing him back, or Michael Olise if he comes. That should be the clear communication. But you will be the backup. This one starts. You come in for the last 30 minutes of the game also, consistently. If it's an FA Cup game, there are so many games we play in the rotation. You start some, he starts some, but you are the designated number 2 when it comes to the right wing. For me, that should be clear. That should be the communication they make. If that's not the case, then they should let go of him. Either loan him to one of these clubs where he will be playing more football, because I think for his own development, Amad needs to be playing more so that he keeps up with the levels we saw he can get to towards the end of the season. If that's not the case, if he's not a backup, if he's not a proper designated number 2 or backup winger, then let him be sold for his career so that we avoid the frustration, because this boy, for me, I feel like he has been growing. But yes, we know he got injured, but he recovered from the injury towards the end of the season. He was okay. But Eric Ten Hag doesn't fancy him that much, and that's clear. And that's the frustration. Probably was among those who are thinking, well, if Eric Ten Hag leaves, I'll have a chance. But Ten Hag is staying, and we're not complaining about it. But that doesn't mean they are not players who he had not really given enough opportunities. So I think for me, Amad Diallo's situation should be sorted. So same is that's the same case with Facundo Pellistri. He returned from loan at Granada, and we've got to make a decision because there's a lot of clutter. There's Anthony, there's Amad, there's Pellistri. Of course, we've decided with Sancho he should be leaving. There's Rashford, there's Anthony. All these are wingers. We need to make clear decisions, and so that we don't just clutter a position without clarity when it comes to certain players. So what then is going to happen to Facundo Pellistri? For Pellistri, I think we can still loan him out if he's willing, because he was not happy. His agent, remember, in the last summer was not happy. Before he was loaned out, I think his agent was not happy about with how Eric Ten Hag was treating his player. Ten Hag is here to stay. He is about to conclude terms for a new contract very soon. I think not even later than next month, he will be signing a new contract. So Facundo Pellistri's future should be decided. Is he leaving? Is he leaving? Or is he staying? So that should be a clear decision made. That should be a proper, clear decision made whether he's leaving. If he's leaving, I think it's okay. He can be sold, or he can be loaned out again if he's in the future plans of the club and they don't want to lose so many of these young players. But there has got to be absolute clarity on these young players, because this is a crucial rebuild that we are having. Amad earns about £1.5 million per year. Peanuts. This is the time they should be calling him and negotiating new terms for him. It's not happening. There is silence going on. We're just looking at mostly bringing in more. We are looking at who are we bringing in. But these players have got to be handled right, just for the good of their careers. But also we need to be that club that handles players right. We cannot be the destroyers, because I'll tell you how Man United handles the Amad situation now might make or crush him. It could make or crush him. I'll tell you that without fear. It could make or crush him proper. So we've got to sort that. Uh, uh, to sort that once and for all for me. That's what I think. Well, let me know what you think. Whether you think Amad Diallo should be sold, should he be loaned, should he stay as a squad player? Let me know what you think. Drop down in the comment section and give me your 2 cents about Amad Diallo and how highly or not you rate him. How good a player, how important a player is he for Manchester United? Just give me your opinion about that. So yeah, uh, I wanted to just hint on a bit on Michael Olise. By the way, I spoke about him for a second. Daily Mail reports that Michael Olise might have 1 foot in Chelsea as it is. I think the fact that Chelsea have been insistent on signing him, he feels more convinced now that they want him. And Chelsea are desperate. They're even looking at including 2 players in what would be a swap deal with cash. Give them cash and give them Trevor Chabalo and Amadueke. Well, it's increasing, but you know what? I think for me, I'm at that point where I feel like if we didn't sign a player, I wouldn't go I wouldn't feel sad and pained and all. Sometimes some of these players would be good riddance, to be honest. I'll tell you, I've never really been one excited by the signing of Michael Olise, at least not yet. I still think Mason Greenwood is a better player than him. That's one. But also, two, I don't think the first priority, the first department we need to sort is that, unless I'm assured that the money is there and I see it, that we have so much money to spend, then because we clearly need that creativity from the right wing. We need to have both wings functional. But I feel for me, going for a 60 million pounds Michael Olise. Some people are saying we include Amad in a swap deal. You know, things like that just don't sit well with me. I feel like for me, that's us selling ourselves short. I think, yes, Olise can be a good player, but if he wants to go to Chelsea, let him go. He can pass. We want to be with players who are excited by the idea, just the idea of being wanted by Manchester United. These are the kind of players we need at Manchester United. That's the mentality, that's the attitude. They will come with hunger and desire and fire in their bellies to come and fight for the badge. For me, I wouldn't be here crying over Michael Olise, honestly. I would rather keep Amad and mold him because I think give him consistent games, Amad can turn into Michael Olise. He can grow with the squad. Just improve the defense, the midfield. Amad plays well with Bruno and Kobe. For me, I think, this boy has got to be trusted for me. But that's where we are. No one is talking about him. I thought, let me remind you that we've got this kid who was frustrated before. We cannot be here frustrating him more, messing up his mental health just because we have money and want to buy so many players. And not that we don't need depth in the squad. It's a case of, yes, you have the depth, but how do you handle certain good players you have? How do you, don't frustrate the life out of them. My name is Webb. Like, share, and subscribe. It's Kobe's night tonight, as I'm hoping he will be starting against England. Big game coming out at coming up at 22 hours. Let's wait and see how it goes. But if Kobe starts, I will be supporting England. But my Netherlands, I usually support Netherlands in Europe. It has beaten Poland by 2-1, so not a bad day after all, is it? Like, share, and subscribe, and let me catch you later.